What's up guys, today I have the best money making method for you guys after the new update, which reset the market, making everything less valuable, including like all the multipliers. So it's been kind of hard to get money until now. I would say with these methods you could get around 30 to 50 million depending on the multipliers. You just have to have the right things for it, but let's get straight into it. So basically this whole method depends on items instead of fish, like the speed core from Sunstone Island, because they sell for a lot even though they're just exotic. The problem is trying to get them without any luck multipliers in your server is so what you're going to want to do is to talk to this angler on Sunstone, and completing his quest will give you the most amount of rainbow totems possible compared to all the other anglers. So once you do have a lot, you're going to want to fish with rods with Sea Overlord and Sea Prince. I would not use the Dream Breaker for this because it will be used during the day, and the Dream Breaker has a passive where in the day you actually get smaller fish. So I would use stuff like the Oniri Falx, the Sword of Darkness, the Evil Pitchfork, or even the Ruinous Oath Rod, because they all give you pretty good passive mutations on your fish that you catch. But with the exotics that you'll be getting, they increase the value by a lot, just because the exotics were really the only items that were still kept at a higher price. Keep in mind though that you will be having to spam rainbows, and fishing in an Aurora will definitely give you less money because you won't be able to actually fish the exotic items up commonly, because one of the exotic items, the speed core, is primarily caught during the day, which means that using a rainbow boosts your luck and sell value of everything that you are going to be giving to the merchant. Plus, it's going to be way easier to catch these things. So first of all, you're going to want to make sure it is day. So you're just going to pop the rainbow totem, and also keep in mind guys, you should be using luminous larva, or if you were present during the Halloween event, if you still have gobstoppers you're willing to spend, they will give you a good amount of luck. So make sure you're using one of those two, and then you're just going to want to start fishing. So I already caught that speed core first try. They aren't really that hard to catch when you summon rainbows, just because they have a higher chance of being caught. Also, if your rod passively makes fish bigger, having spooky or try hard or anything like that to either make catching faster or to add some extra mutations on the fish that multiply the value by a good amount is pretty good as well. But just keep in mind, you should be trying to get the size first before anything. If you really want to make as much money as possible, I would wait for admin abuse on Saturdays to sell during a gold storm, or wait for one to happen if they trigger admin abuse during the week, because it multiplies the sell value by 4, and actually having a rainbow on multiplies the sell value by 0.5. So the max you can get is 4.5, which is actually a pretty noticeable difference considering the value these things sell at, which I'm about to show you. But before that, I just want to show you guys, if you don't know how to get luminous larva, you're going to come over to Sunstone, and these tropical bait crates do give you them. So just make sure to buy a bunch before you start doing this, because you are technically able to macro this. Just make sure to keep triggering those rainbows, because once it becomes night, you're not really going to get anything. So now if I do take my speed core and go talk to the merchant, it sold for 87,000, which is pretty good. But if you do get giant or big on those, which is in addition to any other mutations, the value will go up pretty significantly, especially if you have giant on it, because it's a secondary multiplier. So you're really going to want to try to get that, but that's really just luck based, so it's not going to happen a whole bunch. But if it does, that is really beneficial just to get money. Also guys, if you want, using atomic nukes, or really any nukes, is going to be really good for actually getting the mutations that you want, because the value on the fish that you'll be catching are going to be much higher than even if you just had a rainbow. So I do have a couple speed cores that I have from my aquarium by doing this method, and let's just see, this one is nuclear. I'll actually do the bigger weight one, and if I sell it, I make 94,000. But as I was saying, if you take these big speed cores, even though they don't weigh a lot, it sells for 24,000 without any mutation besides big, which means if you have, for say, lucid on it, which is I think a 3 times multiplier, you're gonna get pretty high. But think about it, if you had spooky or darkness on it, you're gonna be getting a 9 times multiplier, which is going to get you a lot of money. That's around the 250k area. Now, another method to actually get the speed cores without needing rainbows is to be catching it at night with auroras. But you guys are going to want to use the Dreambreaker rod. So if you don't know how to get that, please watch my video on it. It's a pretty easy tutorial. It is a long quest, but once you do get everything you need, it's pretty straightforward. And if you guys do need help getting it, I do have a Discord server in the description where I do weekly giveaways with you guys, so you guys can get a chance to get that stuff. Not just that, but like other rods too, like the NERF and some pretty expensive fish. But if we take the Dreambreaker rod right here and then pop an aurora, we can see how good this thing is actually, because at night the Dreambreaker applies a 50% times multiplier to how big the fish are going to be, plus Sea Overlord and Sea Prince. The fish you catch with this thing are actually pretty big. So I just caught that speed core. Keep in mind the bar does become inverted, so as long as you know how to use it, it's not that hard. And I just got a giant speed core right off the bat, showing you that these things are actually going to be kind of insane. But keep in mind, unlike the rainbow, they're not as common, but still really doable. I mean, I literally just caught another one alongside giant that you'll get during the night with the Dreambreaker. The rod also applies Distraught, which is an 8.5 times multiplier. So if you do get that, your fish will be worth a lot, especially if they're giant, which usually they will be because of the size multiplier on this rod. So let me show you guys how much these things actually sell for. Also, these turtles that you can catch that are also exotic are pretty insane, especially if they're giant and Distraught, because they weigh so much alongside the speed core. But the speed cores will be worth more money. So now guys, if I take the giant speed core and I sell it to the merchant, you guys see I get 24k, so it's even better than the big. And if I go with the nuclear ones, they go with 58,000. And with these turtles, this one is Distraught and big. If I do sell this, I make $157,000, guys. And even the regular Distraught ones, I will make around 100,000. So the speed cores and the other exotic fish on Sunstone, while at night with the Distraught mutation on the Dreambreaker rod, with it also having Sea Overlord and Sea Prince for the enchants, will give you tons of money. And if you do have rainbows, please use rods that are also enchanted with Sea Overlord and Sea Prince, because they're going to be giving you crazy benefits. So if you guys like today's video, please like and sub. It really helps. Also join the Discord down in the description if you want to win some free really crazy fish and a chance to get some free rods in my live. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.